Hello, my name is Michael,
And I'm Roni.
and we want to welcome you all to the Finding Your Voice podcast, episode
One.
one.
Yeah.
This is crazy because this was not in the cards this year
No,
at all to make a
no,
podcast.
no. It wasn't at all in the cards. We just came up with this when, like, May, June?
Yeah,
No, in May.
or like just
We were attempting it in
yeah,
May.
like
Yeah.
early summer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or late spring, early summer.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, how do you feel sitting here right now? Are you
I feel
comfortable?
better.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel better than last time when we were doing the test.
So
I
for
was I
those
was way more nervous on that side because I'm staring at Solomon. Sorry,
Yeah,
Solomon.
Solomon is the
He
guy
makes
that's
me nervous. I'm just
What, you
kidding.
don't like staring at me?
Solomon's
Huh?
the guy that's
No,
off camera that's
he's
helping
great.
bring this
He's
entire
our
thing.
producer. He's amazing. I'm just, I can't have anybody else staring at me for a while.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I think we should stare at you now the
Yeah.
whole
No.
A
podcast.
camera should just be on you the entire
Oh,
time.
okay. Thanks. Hello.
Um so yeah, we're in this cool little studio and we're doing the podcast thing. Believe it or not, everyone and their mom is making podcasts and so are we.
We decided to join in on the fun.
Yes.
Yes.
And again, for those of you all listening at home and watching, my name is Michael. This is Ronnie. We went to elementary school together. I think I met you in fourth grade.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Miss Robertson.
Yes.
Yes.
You were the kid on the playground who stood against the wall, and I really thought like you were lonely, so
I was.
I just decided to stand next to you and start talking because I was the new kid.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I was the new kid, and so I was like, if you're lonely and I'm lonely, let's be lonely
We're
together.
gonna be lonely together. Fast forward, she's married now and I'm not.
Oh well.
No, but yeah, we go way back.
Yeah,
And
since we were kids.
I think, growing up and getting to know you, I've always kind of gotten like the closest to you because we
Mm,
shared similar passions. And I guess it wasn't until maybe like high school where you
yeah,
got like the film and art bug, if you will. You wanted to become a screenwriter or like
I really wanted to
cinematographer or
become like
filmmaker.
that. Actually, was in college.
Oh, that was
After
college.
yeah, my original trajectory was in high school. I wanted to be like a nurse because my mom wanted me to be a nurse. It's the Filipino dream, everyone.
Uh-huh.
And then I got the writing bug from my creative writing teacher, Dr. Scher, and I wanted to be a novelist. So I pursued that passion
That's right.
into college until like my first my first really bad grade in college from my British lit teacher who looked like freaking Chris Farley.
Oh my
He
gosh.
he hated the way I wrote, and so he was not afraid to tell me all the shit I did wrong on my papers
Yeah.
and super discouraged me from like actually using my voice in the written manner.
Yeah.
And I transitioned into filmmaking because I loved films. I was very good at quoting movies and quoting scenes and like dissecting what certain you know thematics were in a movie plot line.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought it was an easier way to get into writing
Mm-hmm.
without me going through the motions of these like high high-minded professors who believed they were
I
holier
think
than art
you're the writer.
thou.
You tell me what.
And casting judgment on the written word, which at that time was my voice. Like I wrote every single day and I journaled every single day. And I think that point, after that feedback from that one Chris Farley looking teacher, I shifted, I changed, I stopped writing for me. I
Yeah.
stopped using that voice for myself, and I was very much more conscious whenever I did put words on a page because I was so afraid of what the audience point of view would be
Right.
or who would be criticizing me in terms of that. So yeah, like I fell into filmmaking because of that.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's been a long road. I haven't always been a filmmaker. I've been a housewife, married to a military man, stayed for like 2 years at a military base, drove myself crazy,
Yeah.
and picked up numerous odd jobs throughout the years. And now, like in my 30s, I'm finally in the entertainment industry. I'm finally where I'm supposed to be, or where I had originally intended to be
Mm-hmm.
from the onset of graduating.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just at a point where, I'm in the industry that I dreamed of when I was younger, when I was in college, aspiring,
Mm.
and I couldn't be any more happier.
Good. Well, I'm really proud of you. That's amazing.
Well,
You
thank
have
you.
quite the resume and the journey.
Oh, I have
Um,
over 14 jobs in the last 13 years.
that's crazy. That's a
Yeah.
lot.
You know what? It's another thing for someone to like say they're going to be something, but the journey is really hard
Oh,
to go and
absolutely.
be that something. If you don't come from some some family with wealth and means, name, or if you're not like, this is not to be racist of anything, if you're not white, like your opportunities are so much more um lessened. There is a wall for you to kind of climb over,
Yeah.
and while it's unfair, it like really does build you. So for me to go from job to job, from being a Disneyland supervisor to being a zoo photographer to being a factory worker right after, it's
Yeah.
like you do what you have to do to survive, but never keep lose sight of that dream that you have of being better.
Yeah.
Because yeah, when you're in those some of those positions, it's very disheartening, and it is essentially dark places to be in your mind,
Yeah.
because it's not what you imagine when you graduate college, you know.
Absolutely. I don't
Yeah.
think college even prepares you for
Oh no.
what is to come.
Oh no.
And the thing that I admire about your journey so much is your drive and tenacity. Like you have not given up. I know there's been times where you
Yeah.
felt like giving up. Even in
Yeah.
like the last month or so, there was moments where you're like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
so uh painstakingly horrible and just
Yeah.
emotionally draining to like job after job and you feel like you're not getting anywhere. But
Yeah.
that is something that I always see in you is that that drive never gets lost.
I mean, it's not that the drive doesn't get lost, because it does sometimes.
Uh-huh.
It's and you know, I love what you said. Like, you never gave up. Truth is, Michael, I did give up. I gave up a lot. When you quit a job, you give up
Yeah.
that job, but it's not giving up on yourself per se. You're
Right.
giving up something of that part of your life, and you ending that part of your life, whether it be a job or relationship or
Hmm.
project. It's allowing you to not give up on yourself. What you are meant for is meant for you.
Oh,
Will
say that
come to
again.
you.
Yes.
And while certain situations and challenges are so hard, like, you have to take time to go within yourself and really truly believe in yourself. I've had this journey where, like, I came from super depressed housewife. Like, I did not go out of the house for
Yeah.
weeks at a time
You were
watching
far. You were
Netflix.
also
I was
very far.
far.
Yeah.
I didn't have you guys. I didn't have my friends. I didn't have my family. And like, my husband's a military man. He had the military mindset of like, you know, having slight PTSD and coming home and being on edge. And so it was a tough situation to come from. But yeah, that journey has led me to where I am now. Like, I had my voice super silenced then. Now I'm learning to speak up, be more me, be more trusting of who I am
Mm.
as an individual, and letting that shine versus like, oh, I'm afraid of what someone will say, what this person will think, what, etc.
So you feel like you are maybe not necessarily fully centered in whatever that voice is now, but you feel a
Yeah.
lot closer and connected to it.
Oh, of course,
Yeah.
of course.
Now more than ever.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's a driving force.
Yeah.
Like, because I've allowed it to become louder, in my head and in my soul.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I applaud you for A, doing this with me.
Okay. Yes.
And
I'm so happy I am doing this with you, because I
good.
don't think I probably could do this by myself, but you know my motivation. My motivation. If I can't sit and do it, I'm not going to do it.
I mean, same. This is why I love having you around, like in terms of like seeking out creative dreams or just like
Yeah.
goals in general because we hold
Yeah,
each other
yeah,
accountable.
yeah,
You know, like you're not afraid to call me out when I'm not keeping up my end of the bargain, and then I'm
yeah,
not afraid to call you out. And that's, that needs to be normalized more. And in some
yeah,
ways, I think we balance each other out.
yeah. I think like my biggest struggle through the years was I felt like I had to do everything myself,
Mm,
and that comes from a perfectionist out standpoint, like an outlook.
hmm
Because people feel like they need to do everything themselves. Well, I don't know. It's a little bit of a psychology thing, right? Like if you grow up, and your parents want you to be perfect, you end up trying to be perfect when you're an adult and taking on everything, and you want to take on everything because you feel like you have to take on
Yes.
everything. So a lot of my projects, I start them, I can never finish them.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's that Virgo
Yeah, the
energy where
Virgo
we just have
energy.
so many creative things we want to
Yeah,
accomplish. There's like piles and piles of things in
right?
our mind where we're like, I want to do this, I want to do that. But then I start them, but I never finish them, or
I
I
just
rarely ever finish
I
them.
really just wanted the accountability, and you came in at a time where I wanted more accountability and more of support in my projects cuz it's hard having people, you know, to count on for certain projects. I've ended
Mhm.
a lot of friendships due to, like just time and just being away and dealing with my mental illness. And so to come back into those relationships, it's awkward, it's difficult.
Yeah.
But you and the rest of the friend group, it's like I already know you guys are always there. So let me lean into your friendship with me a little bit more. So, yes.
That's really beautiful. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, of course.
I think community is super important, and it's important to surround yourself with people who uplift you rather than
Yes.
take you down,
Yeah.
who recognize the value that you bring to the table
Yeah.
and are also not afraid to call you out on your shit.
Yeah. I appreciate those who call me out on my shit. And I'm not
Yes,
afraid of it either. Like
that's
some
good.
people get defensive. I'm like, oh, well shit.
Yeah. No, I mean, it
Yeah.
definitely puts you in check, but you need that tough love.
Of course. Of course.
Um,
But yeah, I mean, sorry, Solomon.
I'll let you take a sip of water.
Don't worry, they're only $3.99.
Oh
You'll be
Uh,
fine.
my gosh.
three ninety nine.
I'll go beg for money in the street. You'll have
But let me just let's unpack for and kind of paint the picture, because let's go
Yeah.
back to January of this year where
Yes.
you had just gotten laid off.
I had just gotten laid off
Mm-hmm.
at my cushy job at Disney,
Mm-hmm.
Disney streaming,
Mm-hmm.
and I was very bummed. I was extremely upset because it was my dream job. I had worked really hard. I had manifested this job. I loved my team. I loved the company culture at Disney. It's unlike any other place I've ever worked at. And I've worked at extremely toxic situations, toxic places, and very fake bosses.
Mm,
And so this place felt very genuine, and it sucked because I know they are a corporation and they have to deal with, you know, what they deal
right.
with the layoffs. It's just part of their nature, but it just sucked. I had to be on the chopping block.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know how bummed you
Yeah, yeah,
were,
yeah.
because it was such a devastating thing, because you
Yeah.
absolutely loved it for the longest time.
I
You
was
had
happy.
I know you were happy. You hadn't had a job
Yeah.
that fulfilled you in that way. You're like,
Yeah.
where I would talk to you and you'd, yes, you'd be stressed, but you're like, you still love it so much. And I'm like,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
so great. And then to have that completely like ripped away from you, I saw how much of that took a toll on your mental health, your
Yeah.
emotional, like all throughout all
For
aspects
sure.
of life.
For
And I
sure.
remember being in the coffee shop just down the street,
Yeah.
and I was kind of being like the jump start to like you
Yeah.
getting like, okay, we're gonna get you back on the road,
You
because I
have your
was on
notebook
my
out and you're like, all right, Ronnie, you got to do XYZ. All right, let's go. Project this, project this. I have an interview here, an audition here.
yes, because I was too like on that 2023 new year, new me, who it is
Yeah.
vibes, and I
Yeah.
wanted to see what I could accomplish this year. I was so
Sure.
motivated, and I was like, okay, cool. I see that you're in this like what feels like a rut, but we're gonna we're gonna
Mhm.
come out of this stronger than ever before, and I'm so motivated,
Yeah,
and I wanted you to like absorb whatever energy I had going because I felt electric.
for sure.
I was I felt so motivated
Yeah.
and just like ready to take over the fucking world,
Yeah.
you know? Because
Yeah.
A, I had a song that I wanted to release and I was like, I have a feeling this is
That's
just gonna
true.
blow like me out of the water and it's going to propel me to the next
Mhm.
step. And that's when we went on our like creative grind. Like we
Yeah,
started
yeah.
literally doing everything. You were helping me with auditions, like filming auditions, job applications. You helped me get the job that I have right now, my little
Yeah,
survival job, which I'm very grateful for. And grateful to you to help me
for sure.
figure out how to do my resume and all that stuff.
For
But
sure. Resume 101, use Chat GPT. I highly recommend it. We are not sponsored, but I
you know
highly
what? It's
recommend
great.
it.
I know there's an argument right now with ChatGPT being like it's
Yeah.
not actually it ruins or doesn't bring like the humanistic part of
You
it,
know what?
but it actually gets the wheels
It
going.
does. It really does. It bypasses the applicant tracking system, which
Yeah.
allows for your resume to be highlighted in their
Hmm.
systems. Um yeah, and in terms of like this is totally off tangent.
Go ahead.
But like they are trying to make it a little bit more human, and
How are they?
yeah, they have teams of people who monitor these, chats.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I know they're investing a lot in the
yes.
whole the technology of it
Yeah,
all.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So there's that's literally the future. The wave of
It
the
is. It
future
is.
it's
As
AI.
much as like I dislike it being a heated point in terms of like conversations in Hollywood
Hmm.
where AI is supposed to take over, you know, the likeness of celebrities and essentially take their voice away. The writing of stories and such like that, like it cannot replace an actual human's experience. It cannot replace an actual human's emotions.
Hmm.
It can try its best to replicate it, but our humanness is so distinct that no computing system can ever understand.
Right.
Yeah.
So here we are after doing like experimenting with other creative avenues.
Which is usually me behind the camera.
Yeah, so this is definitely
Yeah.
I mean, I feel the most comfortable. Hopefully I look comfortable on camera. But this is a whole different ball game for you.
Oh, for sure.
And I think it's a great way to
Yeah,
kind of tie into why we created this podcast
for sure.
is because last year, like 2022 of July, I sort of let's face it, I lost the ability to sing, which is the thing that I have known how to do since I was 4 years old. I was singing on coffee
Yep,
tables
yep, yep.
and always was around
Mhm.
music. And so when that all happened, I was like, "Holy shit, what the fuck?
Yeah,
What am I supposed to do?" I don't think I even processed what was actually happening at that time. I just kind
right.
of thought, "Well, that's weird. Maybe that's fine."
Is it like a pain? Did you feel some sort of pain
I
when
don't know.
you
People
did it?
ask me this if like
Yeah,
for those that I've shared the story with, I did like a little Instagram story, kind of like
yeah, yeah,
detailing
yeah,
what that looked like.
yeah.
But people do ask me like, "Did you? Is it painful? Did you feel anything pop or something like that?"
Right,
And the truth is, no, I didn't. It just, I guess, gradually happened over time. And
for sure.
with any athlete, if you work those muscles enough, it will get tired and they'll wear out, and you need to
Yeah,
recuperate and you need to recover, right?
yeah.
So no, there wasn't a moment where I was like, what the like I felt something happen and just I realized, oh, I'm not hitting those notes as easy as I did
I
before.
see.
Um,
Did this come about like all of a sudden, like you were at a performance and suddenly you couldn't hit that note and you were just confused, or how did that come about?
I
Like
think
how
I was
when
at
did
like a
you notice?
I think I was at like a gig. Here's the
Mhm.
thing, just to give context, like last year was the most I gigged ever.
Yeah,
Like one of the biggest things that I did was like a big voiceover job for TikTok, and
for
that
sure.
required me to record 500 songs from my home studio, and I had to whip out like 10 to 15 songs
Yeah.
per day,
Wow.
recorded without any processing. So just like literally me in front of a
For
mic
sure.
singing these songs. And I did that on top of like live streaming, on top of auditioning, on top of gigging. Cause I also had a weekly gig
Yeah.
that I played up in Laguna Beach, which was great. The money was good. The money was great because that was the most that I had ever made. But
Right.
now it has come at a price, and um, I I guess in hindsight was probably too eager to take the carrot, if you will, because I was desperate.
Mhm.
I didn't have the beginning of 2022 was a bit tough because I just didn't know if I was going to get gigs or whatnot or how
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
going to shape out. But I utilize my voice more than ever before, and um, here I am figuring out me kind of trying to cipher and figure out, okay, well, if I'm not meant to sing right now,
Right.
what is it? If what I thought I was born to do
Sure.
is no longer the dream, or it's not what it is right now, what am I supposed to do?
Other things.
Other things. Exactly, right?
Yeah.
So when we talk about this finding your voice sort of deal, it is a journey to find my own voice back.
Mhm.
I am in voice therapy, I'm in
Yeah.
therapy,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to seek out like different creative avenues. And I'm realizing, this is the
Mhm.
thing that I've come to realize, is that I am more than just music.
Mhm.
I am more than
Mhm.
just a singer.
Yep.
I am more than just somebody who makes music or writes music. That is
Yeah.
a big part of my life, and there's no shade or no disregard to all that work,
For
but
sure.
it's not all of me.
No, it's not.
There's other hats I want to wear. I want to be a an actor. I
Mhm.
want to be a voice actor. I also want to tell stories, and I think
Yeah.
being in this medium, just it feels right. This feels so comfortable
That's
to
good.
sit alongside you and to hear about your story and to share mine.
For sure. For
Because in
sure.
that way, I am finding, um, I'm exploring that new creative avenue for me and realizing a new voice for me as a human being.
True, true. Have you ever thought about teaching?
No. Teaching what?
Teaching. Well, you listed a ton of shit that you do. You ever thought about like teaching any of it? Like you're professional in the music
Yes.
industry, at least
Yeah.
what you've done for the last 5 6 years. You ever thought about teaching
No, I
others?
have not. Well, I'll be honest. I have thought about it, but it still kind of freaks me out. I don't know.
Yeah,
I feel like now that I'm like, okay, if I'm not singing and performing on stage, which is one
that's
thing
using your voice in a different way
I know,
too.
exactly. So I'm like, if that's not what I'm meant to do right now, maybe I am to be like on stage and doing TED Talks or whatnot, because
Yeah,
I do have, you know, um, things I want to share, and any way that I can enlighten
yeah,
people,
yeah.
um, is always going to be something that I strive for, and I anyone that's listening and watching this
Mhm.
podcast, like we want to encourage y'all at home to find your own voice in whatever medium it might be. It
Mhm.
doesn't matter if you are an actor, a writer, a songwriter, a producer, whatever it is. You don't even have to be in the arts. We just want to encourage you to tell your stories and to use your voice, whatever that may look like,
Exactly.
and that's why we're here.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Use it in any medium,
yeah,
whether it be, like you said, writing, singing, filmmaking, or if you want to use it, we're trying to encourage you to use it more in just your daily life.
yes,
Like, for example, what I'm doing right here. I was terrified. I'm still terrified of speaking to people and public speaking in general. Like, I don't do it very often. I hate presentations. I hate creating presentations and speaking in front of a large audience or in front of like people who are important because all my insecurities come up to the top and I either rush myself or I feel like I sabotage myself every time I use my voice. And
yeah,
so me doing this is something unheard of, you know? Something I'm not used to, something I'm not comfortable. So I encourage those out there who are listening uh, to use your voice in every single aspect of your day, whether it be in your relationships, whether it be at work, whether
mhm,
it be, at the coffee shop when you're giving an order, you know, for your daily coffee and
mhm,
engaging in a conversation with somebody else,
mhm.
because your voice does really matter. It it's silly to think that you could be so self-conscious to silence yourself, to make yourself feel so small because you feel like other people are not listening. Well, even if nobody's listening, the universe is listening. The
That's true.
divine's listening. Sorry, I'm a
Absolutely.
little bit of a spiritualist.
Don't
So
First of all, we are not gonna apologize
uh,
for
sorry,
any of our
I apologize. Sorry.
don't apologize for being spiritual, and, that is who you are, and I
Fine, I'm
love
a
that about you.
spiritualist.
You wanna talk to me? You have little tarot cards
Yeah, I
right
did.
behind you. She's the one that brought them, okay? First of all, I'm sorry I'm spiritual. I'm sorry I have tarot cards
You
behind.
know what? If you want your
Do you know how to
yes,
do them?
yeah, I do.
Oh, well, there you go. We should do that as side business if you want some
Oh, do
tarot
you want to
read
find out your fortune, Michael?
we should do that another episode.
Where I just start pulling cards and
Yeah,
then pretend I know what I'm talking
pretend.
about.
Yes, exactly. No, but I think just to go back to what you're saying, like, our voice does matter.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It does. And like in every aspect of your life, like there was I want to point this to an example of the other day. My um husband, we were at like McDonald's, right?
Mhm.
And the kid at the window giving our order didn't say anything. Didn't say didn't say here's your order. Have a
Mhm.
nice day. Uh repeat our order back, nothing. And so, like my husband gets the order and he's like, "Well, I guess everything is here." And he stares at the kid and the kid's like, "Oh, yeah, everything's there." And it's like just a simple act of communicating, of using that voice could alleviate so many miscommunications in daily life.
Yeah.
You know, like simple customer service is literally talking.
Right.
Yeah, using your voice. If you don't use it,
Yeah. Well,
it's
silence has so much,
yeah,
right? Because, like, if I were going to that drive-through, I'd be like,
yeah,
"Well, this kid at the McDonald's drive-through is, like, having a bad day, or he's pissed off, he's not talking to us."
yeah,
But the truth of the matter is he might be fine, but he's just not he doesn't speak
yeah,
up, you
yeah,
know?
yeah,
So, yeah, I get that. So
yeah. No, I get that too. I get that too. But it's just to highlight like you can use your voice. Silence is so powerful that you know when you're at a point where you take a bit of silence, are in a conversation with somebody, and there is a point of silence, a poignant point of silence, like there's meaning to it.
Mhm.
Whether that be negative or positive, there's meaning to it.
Right.
And yeah, if you don't say anything, then
Yeah.
the meeting grows larger.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as we're, like, unpacking this, I'm realizing, like, there is so much to be said about the human voice,
Mm.
or just voices in general,
Yeah, yeah,
because, I mean, literally, we just laid out, like, the season of episodes because there's so many
yeah,
things that we can talk about. Finding your voice in relationships,
yeah.
at home. One of the things that we wanna talk about on this podcast is, how toxic it is sometimes,
Yeah.
many times, living at home or being brought up in the culture where, um there is lots of negativity,
Hmm.
where you're not
Oh yeah.
really encouraged to speak up.
Yes.
We're kinda just
Yes.
told to be quiet and, don't cause any trouble.
Yeah.
Don't do anything that
Yeah.
you know, can make you look bad or cause attention or bring
Sure.
attention to yourself and stuff, and as a 32-year-old now,
Yeah.
looking back at that, realizing, that's not healthy. We should be encouraged
Mhm.
to speak up.
Oh, of
Yeah.
course, 100%. And I truly believe this is not just a Filipino culture type experience. This is a person of color experience. Like it's not, you know, how to explain this. It's an immigrant experience as well because so many people from they come from countries where their voice is so silenced and or the judgments are so strong that it gets passed down from generation to generation.
Mhm.
And then when it gets to you, it's like, well, shit, I'm either going to continue this tradition of belittling my daughter, my son, my niece, my nephew, um, because it was done to me and it's unfair that it was done to me, that it just never goes away.
Yeah.
And yeah, to realize that you have the power to overcome that by just using your voice, just to use your voice to move forward in
Yeah.
those situations and break those generational curses. Sorry, I'm not very good at the mic.
It's fine. No,
But
yeah.
yeah, like it's important. It really is
Yeah.
to do so. And you know, that experience is so unique. So unique.
Yeah.
Yeah. That I think we do need to like kind of unpack that,
Absolutely.
deep dive it.
That is definitely I really wanna do that as an episode.
Oh, of course. Of
Um,
course.
we've toyed around with the idea of having a round table
Yes.
of
Yes.
people who, align with
Yeah.
the experiences that we've gone through, specifically
Yes.
in the Filipino American household, living in a
Yeah.
Filipino American household. Um, and I think there's a lot to unpack there.
Of course. Of course. And like we also talked about a roundtable of people, just generally people of color. It doesn't have to be like,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
us Filipinos, um, because a lot of our experiences are very, very similar,
yeah,
extremely similar. Like my my sister has a Mexican husband, and they have Mexican kids, half Mexican kids, and so their experiences are extremely similar to our experiences. Their culture extremely similar to our culture. So we share a lot of similarities that can be relatable across, cultures and just the planet in general.
right, right. What can we tell the viewers at home watching and
Yeah.
listening? Thank you.
Yeah, yeah,
Thanks for bearing with us
yeah.
on our first episode. It's crazy just getting out the jitters out of the way. I
Yeah.
feel like
Oh, you had jitters?
oh, I did. Oh my god, are you kidding me? Yeah, I'm like sweating here.
Okay.
What can they expect? What can we tell them to expect on our podcast?
Mm. They can expect just casual conversations,
Like this, yes,
uh, rants, a lot of vulnerability from both Michael and I.
and our
And
guests, because we'll have
yes,
guests. Believe it or not.
yes, yes. And you'll find out people who do know us, you'll find out things about us that we were not very, you know,
Open to sharing before or
yes, exactly.
comfortable talking.
Exactly, exactly.
Because in some ways, also, I dumbed down
Yeah,
those voices that I
yeah,
grew up with, thinking that, like, well, I'm not good enough, or I can't do this, or
yeah,
those parts of myself that I denied. And now that I'm here and have
yeah,
continued to do the work, like, this is me proclaiming and sitting in that power.
yeah. This is still part of the work.
So,
Like,
oh, absolutely.
yes,
Yes.
yes.
So definitely expect a lot of vulnerability, if you will.
A lot
I
of,
want people to know that
yeah.
vulnerability is a superpower.
Oh, it is 100% a superpower.
Yes.
Because if you're vulnerable with other people, you just make other people very comfortable.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Because
when
it's
you're
like, if you know when somebody is not being genuine and true, because you feel it. Your body tells
yes.
you. My last position, I felt it everywhere. I was
Mm,
getting physically sick.
mhm,
And my high blood pressure shot up, and I'm on meds now. So,
mhm.
and I went back on my antidepressants. Yeah. Shout
Love
out to
it.
mental health.
Shout out to mental health. Yes. Oh, mental health's a great mental health
Yeah.
is a great thing to know. Yeah, we are big advocates of mental health
Very much so.
and seeking the help that you need. Therapy
Yes.
is great.
Yes.
I started therapy late last year because of
Yeah.
a breakup that just brought me to like rock bottom. We'll unpack that later.
That will be a different
That'll
episode.
be that'll be a whole entire episode
About relationships and your
unpacking that
voice.
trauma.
Yeah.
But yeah, and we really just genuinely want to encourage y'all to join us for this ride.
For sure.
As
For
much as
sure.
we have a structure here and we kind of know what we're doing, we don't know completely where the
No.
road is going to lead.
No. Solomon helps us, but
Yeah.
yeah.
He keeps us on
Exactly.
track.
Exactly.
Um
I do my job.
yeah.
Yeah. Very well.
um where do we want to go from here? We talked about the expectations for this
Yeah. Yeah.
podcast.
I mean, to expect what we expect from each other in this podcast is just continuing the openness of our friendship,
Mm,
um to continue to like rely on each other in terms of like support. And also for viewers out there, we want to build a community with you. We want to be a part of your lives, encourage you when you need encouragement, relate to you when you need somebody to relate to.
Yeah.
Like it's tough world out there, and
Yes.
I hope that hearing stories from us and from others will encourage you to rethink like times in your life or rethink your current situation and what you could possibly do better.
And to know that they're not alone.
Oh, no, you are totally not alone. As much as people like to think like, "Oh, I'm a lone wolf. I do things alone. Nobody cares about me." And like, no,
We do.
people do.
People do.
Yeah,
People
yeah.
do. And we just want to create a safe space
Yes, that's
for
the word.
that
Yeah.
and give everyone that either comes in here and shares their
Yeah.
stories or people that are listening um, a place where they can feel not only safe but feel heard and seen.
Yes, yes, yes. So,
So
try to be an active member in our community as much as possible. We haven't had our socials up yet, but once we get our socials up, we'd love
it
for
might
you
be up. Who
guys.
knows? Whenever this goes
Well,
out, we'll find out.
yeah, for sure. Just send us a line,
Yes.
shoot us an email, hell, text us, call us,
Yeah.
whatever.
Call me, beat me if you want to reach me. But like Ronnie said, no, we want to create a forum, if you will,
Yeah,
and make
yeah,
this um, a community
yeah.
driven
Cause
podcast because we can't do this without you,
of course, of
really.
course. Our stories aren't the only ones to tell.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
So, my goal for this podcast is to kick it with you, have bomb ass conversations, be better at speaking in front of people and cameras, because
yeah,
I'm not very good at it. At least I don't think I'm good at it.
you will be, and
Yeah.
you are.
Oh, I thank you.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I hope to gain more self confidence in doing things like this because I do want to speak out. I do want to teach people. I want to grow as a professional in my field. I'm a marketer by trade.
Hmm.
So, marketing, there are aspects that are creative and you don't really speak very much.
Hmm.
That's the trade I'm in. And there are parts of marketing where you have to speak up. You have to share those ideas. And for me, sharing of ideas is so scary because I deal with a lot of anxiety around my self-worth and what I'm capable of sharing and what my ideas mean to other people versus just myself, that I want to be able to communicate them properly. I want to be able to be in a conference room, stand up and say, "Hey, look, this is my idea and I'm bringing it to life. Here's how I will do it." And for so long, I've been the person who gets so scared to take on those roles, to take on those projects that I freeze, I don't move. And my goal with this podcast is to create more self-empowerment for myself, uh for others, and yeah, it's kind of a social experiment, right, Michael?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I could have said it better myself. No, I love that that you're doing this for you. I think that's great, and I applaud you for stepping into the unknown, if you will,
Yeah.
to do this.
Yeah.
I guess for me, if I may answer the question as
Yes.
well, my goal for this podcast
Yeah.
is what is my goal for the podcast? I because I'm in the place where I'm still trying to figure out what that new creative avenue is,
Yeah.
I want to continue to share
Mhm.
my stories with the world because if there's one thing that I know in life to be true
Yeah.
is that when you share and you share a piece of yourself with the world, that gets returned back to you,
Oh, of
and
course.
you're only making the world a better
Of
place.
course.
And when I leave this planet, this
Yeah.
universe, if you will, like I want to have a lasting impact on the world in some shape or form.
You will never leave the universe, Michael.
Well, science, great. When I leave this
when
earth
your
or
when your
whatever,
body's in the ground,
sure.
yeah.
Wow, morbid. But yeah, so I just really want to do that for me and explore what what this adventure might look like because
Yeah.
I literally don't know. I don't like. I still love singing and I do it when I can, and I
Yeah.
also love writing and I also love acting, but I also love this. Like, there's so many things I want to do. And this is just one of those avenues that I just have to explore, and
For sure.
it feels like the compass is pointing towards in this direction. So,
What are your hopes in terms of like the next episode? What do you feel like we could unpack in the next episode?
I don't know exactly what the next episode might look like. We'll have to like sit down and talk
Yeah.
about it, but I think there's definitely lots of opportunities to unpack my own journey of the struggles of uh, with me having to accept
Yeah.
what has happened to me.
Yeah.
Because I think in some ways I'm still working on that myself.
For sure.
Um, there are days where I have cried and
Mm.
just felt so frustrated because I can't
Mm.
sing my favorite songs or I just can't express,
Right.
right? And with, me being an artist,
Yeah.
um, who longs for those opportunities to
Mm.
share and
Mm.
express, and when I feel like I'm limited on that, it
Yeah.
feels like the rope being sorry,
The rug.
the
Yeah.
rug being pulled from underneath me.
So besides singing, like I know you're an actor also by trade.
Mhm.
Has that helped to kind of mitigate the loss of the singing voice?
Yeah.
Or do you feel like they go hand in hand, like the the confidence builder of singing, since it's been pulled, like does
Well,
it
since
dim
I
your confidence
yeah,
in
well,
acting?
since I now, like, decided to step back into acting,
Yeah.
just for those at home, I did pursue acting for, like, a good number of years, and then I
He's a
stopped.
theater graduate,
I
guys.
have a
He
bachelor's
he
in theater
has
arts.
he had a great performance in Spring Awakening. Next to Normal, he was amazing.
Thank you.
Anybody who's a theater director, just saying,
Cast me!
you do not know what this man is
Oh my
capable of.
gosh.
Like
Well, they were
when he's
both
in front of an audience,
well,
it's amazing.
those both were musicals, right? Like,
Oh, that's
I'm
true.
not
They involved your singing voice.
exactly.
My
My
bad.
point exactly. And I would love to do plays and other things like that, but, uh
Yeah. He's amazing. Hire him.
thank you. Cast me in something, will you please? Yeah, but it's I'm to answer your question, the acting has helped. With
Yeah.
me stepping back into acting this year, I have another outlet or I can express in that way.
Right,
Is it the
right.
same thing as singing? No,
No.
you
Yeah.
know? Um, but, we're here for the long haul,
Yeah.
pretty much.
That's true. Do you feel like doing this podcast would help you in that aspect of auditions and
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
I think the more time that I have in front of a camera with other people, because in this business, you're meeting people left and right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's not so much about your talent, it's really like how you get along with people, right?
Oh,
They
for
say like
sure.
who you know, not so much what you know.
Right, right.
It's true.
Yeah.
Because if you're in a room with somebody and you can't get along with them or you don't vibe, they're not going to cast you. Why would they want
No.
you on set for 12 hours if
Yeah.
you don't have a good attitude or
Yeah.
you're just an
And we could talk
asshole.
about vibes in another episode and how
Episode,
we're
yeah.
both empaths, so when we walk into a room, we know what
Oh,
it
yes, honey, we
feels
do.
like. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And we
I can we can sense that from a mile away.
we absorb it. We don't sense it. We absorb it.
Oh,
We become
absolutely.
it.
Yeah, which is
I become
also
it. Yeah.
what it can be a demise in our situation because sometimes when as being highly empathic,
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
start to absorb all that, and then it starts to take a toll on your entire
Oh, of
body,
course.
and then you
Yeah.
start to project
High blood
and things like
pressure.
that. Oh, yeah,
Stress.
absolutely. Yes.
No, I'm so serious. Like I got back on my antidepressant meds. It's not it can be that bad.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
So,
So, yeah, I'm excited about this podcast. I know you're extremely excited about it.
I am.
Um,
And I'm excited to be on the journey with you, and I'm glad that I have, someone like you
yeah,
to have along the way.
for sure. For sure. I wouldn't have picked anybody else, really.
Thank you.
I mean, like, out of all of our friends, I don't think anybody would want to
Yeah,
do this one.
nobody I mean, not to call out our friends, but none of them are really,
We
like,
love you guys.
creative. We know you know who we're talking about.
We love you
We
guys,
do.
but we're still gonna have them on. Just
We should. That'd be fun. That'd
yeah.
be fun. Um, I think we hit all of our.
We
What do you think?
did, we did. Okay, do you want to close out?
I guess we can't unless let's take a quick little look at our little cheat sheet here. We did that. Your voice matters. Yes, it does. What to expect? Goals and hopes for the podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Any last words before we wrap up?
for sure. What last word? Oh, my last word. The universe is always rooting for you. Do not be afraid to speak up in all aspects of your life. In your relationship, speak up. In, family matters, speak up. Money matters, speak up.
Mm,
Like
preach.
your voice is a part of your soul, and if you don't express it, then you're not expressing yourself. Okay, I don't know if that made
No,
any
it
sense, but
does. It does.
yes.
Um, my last word before we wrap up is I want to tell people at home that are listening and watching is
Yeah.
that um, don't feel pressured to feel like you have to have it all figured out.
Oh yeah.
I don't have it figured out.
No, we're doing this by the seat of our pants
Oh,
right now.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone in this world has it all figured out. If you do, I think then you've lost at life because you feel like, oh, I'm done. I know what I need to know. No, you're not opening
Yeah.
your mind to
Yeah.
other possibilities. So please, anyone that's listening and watching at home, you don't have to have it figured out. We'll figure it out together. We're going to learn about ourselves more on this podcast. We're going to
Go
learn
on this
about other
journey.
people. We're going to
Yeah.
go on this journey together, and we invite you with open arms to join us
Yeah.
on this crazy adventure.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so which camera are we at, Solomon? This one, the middle one, or here? This one. Okay, awesome, cool. Here's our sign off. We've been practicing this for a hot second. Okay, let me just make sure my pants are okay. Ready? You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Once again, thank you for listening to the Finding Your Voice podcast. My name is Michael,
And I'm Roni.
and remember that you have a voice worth sharing.
And a story worth telling.
And then we wave. I think. Bye.